Peace and love, everyone. We're about to get started with a video dealing with Norman Dre Propst and his clemency that he is fighting dearly for over 20 something years. So he'll be joining me in just a second. I just want to give you an overview of what this video would be about, and we'll be waiting for him to join in. Just a little background about him. He is a brother from Chicago, now living in Georgia. He's a philanthropist. He tries his best to help out people in any way possible. And here he is. Let me admit him into the room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Propst, Mr. Norman Dre Propst. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to for you to tell us about your story and what happened, what went on. Tell us a little bit about your life, what you're doing. And yeah, I already did a brief introduction as to where you're from, your Chi-Town brother, of course, somebody that I know and love dearly. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. First of all, okay, I've always known you as Norman, but we've been calling you Dre for a very long time. Would you like to explain as to why why Dre is important, why we call you Dre now as well, instead of Norman?
Oh, okay, definitely. When I became involved in helping the community, helping grieving mothers in Atlanta area, so I was like being harassed by a certain group of people. It didn't like what I was doing for the Black community, so they were sending me like message, talking about, hating message, violence message. So the community just say, okay, we just gonna start calling you Dre. You know, so they will know, how, get in touch with me, like my real government information, like my address. People could look up your personal information, get your address or all kind of details and stuff. So I just go by Dre to everybody.
Okay.
Just call me Dre.
Okay, so during this conversation, I'm just going to refer to you as Dre, even though we know that the situation in which you're fighting for your clemency is under the name of Norman Propst. I'll just, I'll refer to you as Dre, and let's get started. Talk to me. Tell me a little bit about the beginning. What happened? How was your childhood?
Okay, my childhood, I grew up on the south side of Chicago in a poor community. I lived with my father and several siblings and my stepmother. Growing up as a little boy, my father opened like a food pantry and started an organization called Southeast Welfare Collision to help the poor people on the south side, the southeast side of Chicago. So when I was 5 years old, I just remember, working the food pantry. It's food pantry, giving out food to the hungry and to the poor people in the community. And also, he took us to Washington, D.C. as a little boy when Reagan here did like the Reagan cuts, cutting people off for their welfare and cutting people off for the public assistance in Chicago. So we got on the bus and went there and marched to the Capitol and tried to stop him for cutting so many people off for welfare in Chicago.
Right.
And stuff. So as a little boy, I was always helping the community, the poor community, and feeding the hungry people in our community.
So that's something that was put into you or instilled into you as a youth. So you learned that from your father. Those are the traits that you generate now as an adult. That started it. That jump started you. Tell me more about. Okay, so your father. Tell me more about what went down after that. After
Yeah, my father, he was he had two different personality
Okay.
that we was dealing with. He was fought in the Vietnam War, got hurt, and you know, over the years, I just remember the abuse that he was like very angry, and he took that angry out on his loved ones, like his children and my stepmother, and also my biological mother, my real mother, when
Okay.
she was like when we was growing up in the household with my father. And I just remember, you know, he never got seek help. So I'm as I got older, I saw like he got bipolar, he bipolar or fighting PTSD. So I just remember the abuse, the verbal abuse, the abuse that we went through. And I remember the good side of my father helping the community, the poor community. It's like switch up and stuff back and forth.
Right.
So as I got a little bit older, 15 years old, I went to live with my mother. Because my mother, she wasn't play a part of us when we was a kid because my father was took care of us as, we growing up as a little boy.
Right.
So when I left him, when I became 15 years old, and I ran away from him because of the abuse and the verbal abuse that we dealt with daily basis. So I wanted to know who my real mother was. And but I became close to my mother, you know, before what happened to me, the situation, and we'll talk about that once you bring it up. But I
Okay.
wanted to know who my real mother was. And
Okay.
so I became real close to my mother. It's some challenge that I had to deal with her because I didn't know her. So it was like, it was going back and forth because, by my father was telling us, he was like brainwashing us against our mother when we was like little kids. Like, your mother didn't love y'all. I had to take y'all from my mother. Y'all was hungry. Y'all didn't have anything. So it was like, in my head, I thought that was about my mother didn't love us. So when I became a part of my mother life again, she was like, no, that's not true. I always love you. I always love your brothers and this and that. Your father brainwashed y'all against me. And I didn't understand. I didn't know her. So I was treating her real bad. It was hurting her. So and her neighbors like, why you do your mother like that? She loved you. She fought for y'all for years to get y'all custody back. Your father brainwashed y'all against your mother. You should treat her like as a lovely person because she helped so many people out in her community. And so I was like, I don't know her. I don't know how to treat her because in my head, my father taught us that she didn't love us. She told him to come and get us and this and that, you
So
know.
basically, you had two parents that were actually very strong in helping the communities in which they lived in. So
Correct.
that was instilled in you. So when you moved with your mother, and your mother, what's your mother's name? What would you like for us to call your mother?
Miss Minnie.
Miss Minnie. Okay, Miss Minnie. I know Miss Minnie. Okay. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that, that's
Mhm.
what you want to call her. Miss Minnie, at what age did you and Miss Minnie, you know, did you join Miss Minnie, and then did you start changing and finding out her ways that she was really a good person? She was definitely a very jovial person. I enjoyed her company a lot. Um, how was the family life once you got there you had other siblings that were living there with you, am I right?
Yes, I had
About that.
a little sister. She was like my little stepsister. Um so it was like she didn't come back live. I left first. I ran away from my father's household when I was 15. So after like a couple years later, my little brother, Jerome, which is deceased now, he came and ran away after me. So then my oldest brother of my father and my mother, well, I do have an oldest brother than us, but my brother who lived with me, my father and my little brother and my sister, he went to the military
Okay.
after, I ran away from home. And once became 18 years of age.
Okay.
So It was just me and my little brother and my mother and my stepfather.
Tell me, how was your relationship with your younger brother and your sister? Tell me, what was the life like with being with your younger brother and sister? And then you said that your younger brother, you stated that he was deceased. Do you care to elaborate about, how?
Yes.
Okay.
My little sister, she was a pretty little girl. Everybody in the community like, oh, she's so pretty. She was spoiled, and her mother was like a stepmother to me. She wasn't my mother, and it was like when I was in like eighth grade. Yeah, eighth grade. I broke my leg when I was in eighth grade. So my father really went hard on me. He was like, oh, called me names and stuff. Then come to my graduation. It was just, I had a broken leg. My cast was up past my knee. Me and my stepmother hopping to the graduation at the school.
Right.
And, my teachers and the principal, they were like, where your father? Where your father? And I was just, you know, gave a sad look. But I was happy that I did graduate from eighth grade. I've achieved so many awards in my eighth grade. The principal gave me all my awards. He came down the stairs because I couldn't walk with my cast up past my knee and walking with crutches. So it was like he just brought me my awards. I'm so proud of you, young man. You achieved so much. All my teachers. So after the graduation, everybody taking pictures of me, this and that with my awards. So people's like, it's sad that your father didn't show up for your graduation. I said, I'll be okay. I'm a strong young man. So that what happened, early age. So I just remember my little sister, we was close, but I had to do something real mean to her. And I apologize to her, ask the High Mighty God to forgive me. For ordering me to get out the abusive household, I had to do something to my sister. Um, and to escape out the apartment that we live in.
Okay.
And so it was like after that, I ain't see my sister like in years until her mother passed away with lupus. I went to the funeral. And then also I went to see my sister, you know, once I became older and she was like living in an abusive household with two marriage.
Okay.
And I became depressed, seeing my sister in that situation, this and that. So
So
that's one thing.
depression is something that has been a part of your life and dealing with your parents and dealing with your siblings and dealing with your younger brother. Now, your younger brother dealt with depression as well. Am I correct? Could you
Correct.
tell me a little bit? Let's move a little forward and speak on like what went down with your little brother. How how much younger was he than you? And I want to go ahead and move forward so we can get to the part to where everything happened as
We
far
was
as
like,
the police situation.
yes, we was 11 months apart from each other. Um, he was, became violence after he left my father's household. So by me being a good person and helping the community, my brother became to be a part of a gang in Chicago. So when he moved back to my mother household, me and him, we were talking. He was like, Dad, he never loved us. Who I'm gonna turn to? I never received love, and so he thought the gang was his family and his who gave him more, treated him better than my father. So but my mother lived in a different community. The young guys like, oh, your brother, he throw up gang saying you better tell him before he get hurt out here. So I'm trying to tell my little brother stop doing that because they giving me message like we love your mother. Your mother's a good mother, but your brother better stop doing gang banging in this community. And this is a different type of gang than your brother belonged to. So I was like trying to tell him, as a older brother, like that's not the way you should go. And he like, going off on me. Then, he started like becoming real violence. And so my mother, I'm used to fight my little brother, like trying to stop him for doing everything, all kind of, you know, I want, crazy stuff in the
Right.
community, like throwing up gang signs and
Right.
fighting young people and this and selling drugs. I was like, that's not the route you're going to go, not in this household. So my mother thought I was picking with her baby because he was the baby of, her sibling, of her kids. So I'm like, Mom, you need to tell him because the gang people say they're going to get him. She's
Right.
like, nah, you just exaggerating. You mad with your little brother. You better love your brother. And she said, next time y'all fight, I'm going to call the police so y'all can walk both of y'all down the street in handcuffs. And I said, no, Mama, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put it in the Lord God's hands. And that's your son. But I'm just giving you advice that that's not the route that he should be going into. So throughout probably a couple of years later, when he turned 17, he committed suicide because he was fighting depression, going through teen depression. And, me and my mother's stepfather and my my cousin, they was in the household when he committed suicide.
You all were
And,
in the house when he committed suicide. Okay.
correct.
So that had to be very tragic to not only lose your little brother to suicide, knowing that he was in a lot of pain or whatever, but to actually witness him committing suicide.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And that I'm sure that impacted your life in a great way.
Yeah. It gave him, I developed PTSD because I
Okay.
still remember in my head. And I tried to save him and only, he went into the hospital for like 2 months. I didn't see him in 2 months. My mother used to go visit him in the hospital because he was fighting depression. And, and the day he came home, like a couple of days after he came home, he was like, my head hurt. And so my mother, she was like looking around the house and stuff. She's like, well, who keep filling up the tub with, with water? Who keep filling up the bathtub with water? And I said, not me. So my brother kept going back and forth in the bathroom and stuff. So he started saying, he got on the phone that day when he committed suicide. He cursed out his girlfriend, who he'd been with for years and was in love with her. And I'm like, why are you doing that to her? She crying to me over the phone, like, what's going on with your brother? And I said he been acting strange and this and that. Next thing I know, my brother went in the bathroom and shot himself in the head. He used my stepfather's gun.
That's
And
awful. That's awful.
yeah,
That is very awful. And I can understand what type of impact that had on your life, as far as also leading to more depression for yourself and your siblings, as well as your mom. What happened on the day when you were wrongfully accused of doing something and the police came to your house? Tell me about that day.
okay. I would just remember my mother woke me up early in the morning. She like, I'm going to the store, grocery store. The insurance people gonna come and collect the insurance money because every month they used to come and collect the insurance money from her. So she gave me the insurance money to get to the insurance people. Next thing I know, I'm halfway asleep and somebody banging on the door. And next thing I know, I open the door. It was like around about 3 officers came, they like, you under arrest. And I'm like, for what? I didn't do anything. And so they had a young Philippine guy with me and said, you robbed my grandfather. You robbed my grandfather. I said, I don't know who your grandfather. I'll be in the house all day. So they came inside her apartment, my mother's apartment, looking around. And I said, what are y'all looking for? They like, you need to be quiet. So next thing I know, my back door was wide open. And the police said, oh, you must ran through the back door. And I like, ran through the back door. I've been in the house all day. And so they told me to stay by the front door with the other 2 police officers while one was walking around in the apartment. So they went and got a jacket that I had in my apartment. They said, "Oh, that's the jacket that you wore when you robbed the elderly man." And I'm like, "What?" I said, "What is y'all here for? Y'all have to leave my mother apartment. Y'all
Right.
got the wrong person." So they put the handcuff on me. So next thing I know, my neighbors then was outside. And they were like, "Y'all got the wrong person. He been in the house. He ain't not that type of person. He don't do violence. His mama is sweet. She take care of everybody in the community. Y'all got." The police told the women who was outside, say, "BITCH, y'all need to ship or I'm gonna take all your ass to jail too."
Right.
And they were like, "Oh, get out of our community. Y'all always coming here and messing with the young people in our community." So they put me in the back seat of the police car. And one of the white officers that said, have anyone ever called you the N-word?" And I said, "Well, you just called me the N-word." Because he did
Right.
say the word N-I-G-G-E-R. I don't even say that word.
Right.
But I said, "You just called me that." And I said, "What do y'all want from me? Because y'all got the wrong person." So they took me to the police station. They handcuffed me to the wall for 4 hours. I was in handcuffed to the wall.
And at this time, you're what age?
I was 19.
Okay. Go
And
on.
so I remember this police lady walked past, a black police lady. They like, "Don't say nothing to him. They got the wrong person. Don't say nothing." So one of the white police officers came in and was like, "You killed that elderly man. You better confess to us or you're going to get life in prison. You better confess." And I'm like, "I didn't do anything to anyone. You got the wrong person." So the police officer lady was inside the police station. She sent her little son. He was like 11 or 12 years old. He said, "My mama told me to tell, don't say nothing to him. The elderly man in there laughing with the police with his family. Don't talk to the police. My mama told me to sneak in here and tell you that." So next thing I know, I'm still handcuffed to the wall. So next thing I know, they moved me to another room, and I think it was the prosecutor or somebody worked with the DA office or something. He started asking me questions, and I was like, "I'm not going to say anything." And he said, "What's your name? Where you were born? What's your age?" and stuff like that. So after he left, he was a black DA or something. He worked with the DA. So next thing I know, they put me in the cell for another like, well, it'd be like 10 hours. And I heard nothing from my family. They wouldn't let me talk to no one. Then I remember they took me to Cook County Jail, and I was locked up in jail for 3 months
Okay.
for, for a crime I never committed.
Okay.
They put me on house arrest for a whole year.
I think that's when we met. A
Ye-
little bit shortly afterwards is when we met each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were on
Yes.
house arrest for a year, and could you tell me like a little bit more about like how this has really affected you? What how many years ago? Well, I know we're in
30, 30. I think it'd been like 32 years ago.
and you basically been working for helping people in the community. You now reside in Georgia. You have
Yeah,
you did the three
that's
months.
correct.
You were on a year's worth, a year with the ankle bracelet or so. Is that correct? How long were you
Yeah.
on probation? Okay,
Yeah.
you had the
I
ankle
was
bracelet.
on probation for 4 years. I was on house arrest for a year. They took me off the. I went through a lot of stuff in jail. Looking, seeing so many young black and brown people locked up, young guys for crimes they haven't. They would tell me I ain't do a crime. This crime. They put a gun on me. People was in there that said police put guns on them, drugs on them, and so in my head I was like, I'm in this locked up and anything could happen to me. I went through a lot of stuff inside that being locked up in the jail with older guys and this and that.
Right.
Some of the threats. So lucky I had a family member who worked for that particular Cook County jail, and he made sure other officers look out for me. I remember an officer named Mr. Murphy. He would always look out for me, and he went and go used to go visit my mother. And one day he said, oh, I went to take your mother some food and stuff. She doing good. She told me she loved you. I'm gonna go back and see her a couple more days. A couple more days later, he said my mother was in the hospital. She had a slight heart attack, and that made me so depressed. In jail, like I need to be there for my mother, but I couldn't be there. He said I'm gonna take care. She gonna get better. I'll make sure she gonna get better. So he always told me, your mom at home. I went go check on her and stuff like that. So I just remember me and my mother after that, after I got out of jail and being on house arrest, I remember we used to always go back and forth uh, to the court. It was always to be continued, and she used to have to pay the lawyer all her life saving, like use her rent money. Lucky she a good landlord. Used to like, don't worry about it. I want your son, be off this situation. So she used her rent money, and some of the young guys who belong to the gangs, they used to raise money for my mother to pay for the lawyer. And so it took a toll on her. So the last day we went to court, the lawyer came and told me they want to do a plea deal with me. And so I'm looking at my mother like, I don't want my mother to keep going through this because she getting sickly and stuff. She don't have any, and she poor, and try to do the best way to raise me up. After she lost her son, she been going through a lot of depression. So the lawyer said they want to either give you go to trial, they want to give you 3 to 15 years, or you could take probation and get 4 years because you never did a crime. Your first crime offense, yeah. So they want to give you 4 years probation. And so I'm looking at my mother, tears coming down my face, and my mother already looking sad. So I told the lawyer I'll take the plea deal, the 4 years. And I went to probation, found me a good paying, reasonable job, to help my mother and stuff like that. Even the probation lady say they got the wrong person. You don't even have to come and see me every month. I used to have to pay probation fee, use my little work money to pay the fees.
For probation.
Yeah, probation.
Right.
Yeah. It's lucky I had a real nice probation, and she retired, and I was so depressed because she gave me so much wisdom. She was an older white lady, and she like, you just like a son that I always wanted. I know you didn't do the crime, and that's sad. Right. And I wish I could do something to help you so this crime won't be on you.
You had people once you, just to move forward a little bit more, you wound up having people that really tried and that are still trying to help you to get, because basically you're trying to get your clemency, because it's stopping you from being able to do a lot of things that you've been wanting to do to help the community in which you live in now. And I'm sure you'll always come back to Chicago and show Chicago some love because this is your hometown. But
yeah,
it has affected you. Who are some of the key people that have helped you into fighting for your clemency? And I think that you went to court last year around October, or was it 2019 or so? I'm not sure. Was it last year or was it 2019?
Yeah, and push forward with that. Let me tell you, my first job I had in Chicago, the first Chicago bank.
Okay.
And they had security came in there and like, we have to have a meeting with you. And I was there for 11 months working there in the processing check, processing check and this and that. Proofreading people payment, this and that with the first Chicago bank. So they came in there like, we're gonna have to let you go because you have a felony on your record and you can't work here. So my supervisor came and cried. I had 2 supervisors. They were crying, talking about every time we hire young Black guys from the Black community, the poor community, we always got to let them go because they have felonies on them. And they told me to try to get a sponge so I could continue work there. They want me to continue work there. So I went everywhere, the police headquarters. They tried to get a sponge. They said, well, you can't get a sponge for a felony, this and that.
So what happened? Well, who helped you? Name some of the key people. I know you mentioned one of the guys from the
Uh,
Central. I'll let you talk more about it because I don't, I don't want to take over. But
yeah, I went to Illinois Innocence Project.
okay,
So I had wrote them a letter. And then also I went to I think it was the Daily Center. I went there and spoke to Cabrini Green legal aid to get
okay,
their sponge off of me. So I just, remember some of the stuff. I'm gonna go through some of the details about what, happened to me also. They were trying to put crimes on me in Chicago while I was
even
working
more
for,
crimes outside of what you had already done.
yeah, like I used to work for a bookstore, like it was called Borders at the airport O'Hare. And the head security said, "You got a felony. You weren't supposed to be working." I was there already working there for 3 or 4 years. So they were trying to get me out of there. They just couldn't fire me. So they would even put a little book cost like $5. Said I gave it to one of the airline employee.
Okay. So you
So,
kept being picked
yeah,
upon because they knew that you had a
yeah,
felony or whatever. So every time you tried to do something, it was like, and as you continue to
yeah,
try to do stuff, your record is going along with you. So you're trying to fight for your clemency. You had
yeah,
a young lady that helped you in Georgia, and also a gentleman that was a part of the Central Park. I think they call it the Central Park Five. Um, what was his name?
his name was Yusef. He was generated 5. He he came, we met a couple times, and he gave me a lot of wisdom words like keep fighting for
For
your
those who don't
clemency.
know who the exonerated five is, could you explain to us who are the
Okay,
exonerated five?
generated 5. It was like young guys. It was like black and brown. I think like probably 2 Puerto Rican and 3 black young guys. They had to be, the youngest was, I think he was like 14 years old.
Hmm.
And it was a white lady running through the park of Central Park, and they said they pick out these young guys and said they raped her and beat her,
Okay,
brutalized her.
so
And
that's
so,
one of those people are
yeah,
okay. That's the one. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we made it clear as to who this person is that was helping and has been a mentor to you and someone that you could talk to that understands exactly what you went through, as well as another young lady, because there's somebody else out in Georgia that helped you with with coming back to Chicago to try to get your clemency and went to court with you and everything. You had support at court. Tell me, um, how did they play a role? So you were able to talk to him. He supported you. He talked to you. He was there for you.
yeah,
And you can still you can still communicate back and forth with him if necessary. And the
yeah.
young lady that helped you, what exactly is going on? What happened with court? I know that things, because of COVID and everything has slowed down a lot, but what is going on, or what happened when you went to court? It was like continuation, or we can't do anything, and so moving forward,
Yeah,
just give me a
yeah.
little more details about that.
Yeah. After I talked to the legal Chicago Cabrini Green legal aid department, they told me to contact Illinois Innocence Project. So I
Okay.
wrote to Illinois Innocence Project. So the director of Illinois Innocence Project, he said, "I'm coming to Atlanta. I want to have a meeting with you." So I met with John Hanley, and he was like, he listened to my story and everything. He said, "I believe you, young man, and I'm gonna do my best to help you get your clemency." He said, "You see, Illinois Innocent Project, they don't help anybody who not in jail or in prison. They help the ones in prison
Right.
who, innocent people." So he's like, because I hear your story and it's touching what you told me your mother went through, and I want to help you. So he had got all the documents and all the police records I sent to him, and we was having like talking over the phone. And his internship, Kaylin, real beautiful person, she was like, "I'm gonna do my best, I believe you, and we're gonna do this together." So what had happened, they had um contact Illinois Prison Review Board. They the one who handle the clemency. You have to go in front of them for a hearing. And, I had to get all documents for, how I help in the community, the poor community. I help the children, grieving families, belong to 7 organizations. So they had me send all the information that I help in the community, all the documents and stuff to them. And they send it to Illinois Prison Review Board. So once they send the documents, they have to choose and see if you come to the hearing, they going to accept. If you, go in front of them and tell them your case and this and that. So what had happened, by me belonging to this organization called Alliance for Black Lives, Dr. Therese Johnson is the secretary, Keisha Brown, she's the president of the organization. So when I told them my story, what happened to me when I was young, they were shocked. They were like, "Oh no, we gotta do our best to help you. We gonna fight together."
So they went to court with you. Was Mr. Yusef, was Yusef with you as well? Did he go to court with you?
No, he didn't. He didn't go to court. But what he did, they did what the people in Georgia and Atlanta. What they did, they raised money for us. We took like 5 people with us. They paid for our flight. They paid for our hotel and our food. So Yusuf was like, "Yeah, y'all could mention my name to and he did put it out there to help this young man to get to Chicago for his hearing clemency."
Right, because he knew exactly what you went through. I mean, he had gone through it, and he actually served about 30 years.
And he's still fighting for young people in prison. Is in the system, innocent people still locked up now. He's still fighting for people to get out. And
which is something that you too want to do, but you have to be able to get your clemency in order to go ahead and further your education and do different things, and then be able to help other people. What is it? Okay, and I don't want to like skim over everything, but I want to just be able to get to the point to where, okay, it's 2021. You have been working for a minute, really just trying to get your clemency for something that you definitely did not do. Obviously, everybody has believed you. This is something that we hear that goes on in different communities all over the world, period. A lot of people are put in a position in which they are told, okay, we know that you're not the person, but you can't prove it, and whatever we say goes or whatever. So you're just going to say what we say. We're going to tell you, and we're going to give you this deal, and you're going to work with it or whatever, so we can go ahead and close this case and this, that, and the other. Moving forward, 2021, you still have not received your clemency. And what is it that needs to be done? What is it that you want to do? And what is it that we can do as a people to help other people that have been in the same position that you're in currently to receive clemency, to not be put in that position? And how do you want to help people further in the future once your clemency, because I'm claiming that your clemency is going to go through. We just don't know when, because of what everything the world is going through now. Everything is pretty much put on hold or whatever. But what exactly, where are you at right now with fighting, and what are you going to do in the future to fight, not just for yourself but as well as for others? Because I see you on lives and everything. I see you fighting for people with everything that's going on in the world. I've seen you on a lot of different Facebook lives, a lot of different, we communicate a lot and talk about a lot of the stuff that you do. Moving forward, do you have a court date coming up anytime soon? Are you still working with the Illinois, the project that helped you in the first place? What's going on in January 2021? Where are we now with this?
Yeah. The Illinois Innocence Project, Kaylin, she keep in touch with me. She give me high hope. She said because the process is moving slow because of the governor Illinois dealing with the COVID-19. So a lot of people not getting their clemency, this and that on time. So she said it's a slow process, and she giving hope that that I'm going to receive it, but it's up to the Illinois governor um, to grant my clemency. So it's a waiting process.
Right.
So I'm just here continue helping the community. Well, I live at Gwinnett County. That's like 25 minutes from Atlanta.
I know
And
Gwinnett.
still helping the community and still talking to some of our legislators and, so they could push for the reform justice bill, people dealing with mentally ill and being
Mental
locked
illness
up.
is very real in the Black community, and a lot of people don't like to speak about it. I speak about it a lot on my channel because a lot of people don't like to talk about it because it's always this stigma, crazy. We don't need to be sitting on nobody's couch. That's what other people do or whatever. But
No,
mental
it's not even
illness
like
has
that.
been high in our community for a very, very long time because of a lot of stuff that we've gone through, period, in life. And without getting help, I mean, wouldn't you say that without getting any type of help whatsoever, like you said, your father had PTSD. I think you mentioned that Miss Minnie had, she dealt with depression. Your brother dealt with depression. All your siblings possibly dealt with depression because of what your father, even though he was a philanthropist and a great person, really trying to help the community, he never really got help for himself. And, as well as are you taking care of yourself mentally? Are you able to get the help that you need? Do you have a therapist? Are you able to communicate with somebody that helps you? Yusef is one person I know that you can, lean on or whatever.
And Dr. Therese Johnson.
Yeah, her as well.
Yeah, Dr. Therese. Yeah, she's like been a great help to me. Like we talk like mostly every day. She like a family member to me.
Right.
She just won Gwinnett County School Board member, the first Black woman, the first Black Jewish lady on the school
Absolutely.
board. And she dealing
Absolutely.
with depression now because they've been attacking her. So me and her go back and forth helping each other out. So she's a blessing in my life. And plus I have a great doctor who I talk to about my
Okay.
PTSD. I've been going to them for 5 or 6 years. I was homeless in Atlanta for like 2 years. They've been really a great support to me, this and that. So I have a great support team, great organization, Alliance for Black Lives, real great support of people helping the people with mental illness, feeding the hungry, fighting for justice in our community, talking to our legislators so they could pass these bills to help our community, the poor people, reforming justice. It's like a lot of stuff is on our plate now that we got to continue fighting for. And that's why I believe. And once I get my clemency, I want to go back to school and get my college degree in family counseling so I could go back and help my community. But now I can't do nothing because you can't even get a job because you got the clemency. You have a felony on you.
So, I am really impressed because all the years I've been knowing you, I've known bits and pieces of your story, but I've learned so much more from you just from us communicating, even just in the past 6 months. I mean, usually, we're joking and laughing and tripping out and having so much fun talking about back when we were 19 and all that, that we never really focused on like a lot of the bad things that we've encountered in life. And I have seen you literally outside, live, protesting by yourself. I remember seeing you with poster boards and stuff up, lined up. You were out there by yourself, putting yourself in a position to be harmed, to be messed with by the police. And I find that you're a very, very strong man to be out here solo sometimes and doing the things that you do. Yes, you do have the backing and support of other people, but a lot of times I see you by yourself out here trying to do your thing. And for that, I know that you will be granted your clemency, not because of anything else other than karma, because of what you've been putting out here. I really hope that you receive everything back.
You know what? Let me tell you what I always look at. I always look what Dr. Martin Luther King went through. He used to fight by himself, and some of the people, churches was against him. A lot of black people was against him, and he stood strong and kept fighting. And I look at that, and his birthday is coming up, and it's happy birthday, Dr. Martin Luther King.
Right.
It's just a blessing that
Well,
our ancestors went
tomorrow
through.
we'll be celebrating, but his birthday actually passed. But is recognized
Yeah,
on tomorrow, Monday,
correct.
which is what, the 18th. Yeah, but his birthday already passed. But yes, that I'm glad that you brought that up too. Yeah, so we definitely want to get this up and out. What I want to do is I want to put in some information in the description box so that if people want to get in touch with you, maybe you can give me an email address. If other people want to join in to help you, to help others, if other people want to join in to help you, that may be able to help you. We never know who's watching this. Maybe there's other people who need help as well, and maybe you could be a mentor to someone. I know that you're open for helping other people, and I know that there should be other people out here open for helping you. Are you willing to give us some information in order to contact
Yes,
you so I could put it in the description box below for people? And I also put it on all the rest of my social media so that you know people can communicate with you as like a big brother or somebody to look up to, or to get help, or to receive hope. You know what I mean? As well as maybe
yeah,
somebody can reach out to you to help you as well, even
yeah.
though
I
you
could,
have a backing.
yeah, I could give out details right now while we on,
Okay.
talking. Um, what you guys could do is contact JB Pritzker, Illinois governor, uh, and on Twitter, and just say Norman Propst. That's P like in Peter, ROP like Peter, S like Sam, T like Tom, and
Oh,
say,
I'm gonna definitely put it in the description box so that way they'll be able to see it. JB Pritzker of Illinois.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll definitely put that in
governor,
there. And do
and
you have?
just
Are you going to give us an email address or something so that they can?
yes, I'm gonna give you Alliance for Black Lives email.
Okay,
Um,
I'll put
it's
that in the description box. So, because if I'm not able to put it across the screen or whatever right now, a lot of people, they'll, you know what I mean? It'll be like,
yeah,
okay, that was a good story. That's whatever. But if it's in the description box and if I put it in everything else, on all my social media, then they'll definitely have it. It'll be written so they can just click on it or whatever. That'll be easier. Okay.
yeah.
Dre, I really appreciate you coming and telling your story. That was a lot. I mean, we tried to put it in under 30 minutes or whatever. It's definitely something that should have taken, it will take a lifetime to really talk about all the things that has happened and occurred to you. But the thing that I love and admire most about you is that you've always kept your head up. You've always kept me laughing. You don't act sad, you know what I'm saying? And even though we both suffer from some type of depression or mental illness or whatever, um, you stay focused, you stay strong. I know that you're definitely a person that can help other people. And I know that that's something that you've been doing since you were a child. So I wish nothing but the best for you. I hope that you continue to do what you're doing. And we're gonna have another session together. We're definitely going. We already talked about. We're gonna talk more on the PTSD and mental illness, especially amongst Black men, and because a lot of Black men are not into getting help and everything, and Black women as well, African American women, people of color, period. A lot of people think that that's just not the thing to do. We've always been told, no, you don't do that because whatever, whatever. But we're going to talk about that in another segment. But thank you so much for joining
And
me.
thank you for having me, Beautiful.
Oh, I
And
appreciate
it
you.
was a blessing to be on this lab with you and bringing, educating our people, take care of yourself and help each other. That's what we
Absolutely.
need. We need more people
Absolutely.
like you to put, because we see the media and we only see bad things, what's going on.
Absolutely.
But we need people like you to put it out there. This what our community faces every day.
Right.
This a day, and this what we have to go through. But we have to help each other. Keep fighting for the right thing.
Right.
Never give up on your people. Keep loving each other, and we're gonna win this fight together.
We will. We will. And I look forward to talking to you again. I love you so much, my
I
brother.
love you too.
All right. So thank you. And I'll see you soon. Hopefully,
Yeah, thank you.
hopefully things will lift up and I'll be coming to Georgia to see you. You and of
Definitely,
course
definitely.
my bestie. All right. I'll see you guys soon. I'll be talking to you sooner though. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Love you.
Peace and love. I love you as well.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.